Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to have a real conversation about a topic that's often surrounded by a lot of opinions: marijuana. While many people talk about its benefits or see it as harmless, it's crucial to understand that it's not the right choice for everyone, and for some, it can have some pretty serious negative effects. Our goal here isn't to judge, but to share factual, balanced information so you can make informed decisions for your own health and well-being. Let's start with what happens in the brain. The main active compound in marijuana is THC. When you use it, THC travels to your brain and attaches to receptors that are part of your body's endocannabinoid system. This system helps regulate things like mood, memory, appetite, and pain perception. When THC hijacks this system, it can disrupt its normal function. One of the most immediate and well-known effects is on short-term memory. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone who sigh and they completely forget what they were just talking about mid-sentence? That's a real-time example of THC's impact. It can make it difficult to form new memories while you're under the influence. Imagine trying to study for an important exam. You might spend hours reading, but the information just doesn't stick. The next day, it feels like you never even opened the book. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. Over time, especially with frequent use, this can significantly impact learning and academic performance. It also affects your ability to focus and pay attention. Your brain has a harder time filtering out distractions. Think about driving a car. Driving requires constant attention, watching other cars, checking your speed, paying attention to traffic lights. When your focus is impaired by marijuana, your reaction time slows down and your judgment is clouded. This is why driving under the influence of marijuana is so dangerous and illegal, but it also affects everyday tasks. Trying to complete a project for work, follow a complex recipe, or even just have a deep, meaningful conversation can become incredibly challenging. You might find your mind wandering constantly, making it hard to stay on task and be productive. Now, let's talk about the emotional and psychological side of things. While some people report feeling relaxed and happy, others have the complete opposite experience. For certain individuals, marijuana can trigger intense anxiety, paranoia, or even full-blown panic attacks. You might start feeling like everyone is watching you or talking about you. A simple, friendly gathering can suddenly feel threatening. You might start overthinking every little interaction, convinced that you've said or done something wrong. This isn't just a bad trip that you can brush off. For someone predisposed to anxiety, marijuana can amplify those feelings to an unbearable level. It can turn a recreational activity into a genuinely terrifying experience. Why does this happen to some people and not others? It comes down to a combination of factors, including your individual brain chemistry, your genetics, the potency of the marijuana, and even your current state of mind. If you're already feeling stressed or anxious, using marijuana can sometimes act like pouring gasoline on a fire. These negative psychological effects are a key reason why it's simply not a good fit for many people. Let's move on to the impact of long-term heavy use. When someone uses marijuana frequently, especially starting from a young age when the brain is still developing, the consequences can be more lasting. One of the most discussed effects is what's often called amityvational syndrome. This isn't an official medical diagnosis, but it's a pattern of behavior that many people, including users themselves, their families, and clinicians, have observed. It's characterized by a noticeable drop in motivation and ambition. Someone who was once passionate about their hobbies, career goals, or schoolwork might start to lose interest. They might feel apathetic, content with just getting by instead of striving for more. Think about a talented student who starts using marijuana heavily. Their grades might begin to slip. They stop turning in assignments, skip classes, and lose interest in the subjects they once loved. Their long-term goals, like going to college or pursuing a specific career, start to seem distant and unimportant. This lack of drive can have a ripple effect across their entire life, impacting their relationships, financial stability, and overall sense of purpose. It's a slow fade, a gradual loss of the spark that drives us to achieve things. Furthermore, heavy long-term use is linked to an increased risk of developing certain mental health conditions. For individuals with a genetic predisposition to disorders like schizophrenia, using marijuana, especially high-potency strains during adolescence, can potentially trigger the onset of psychosis or worsen existing symptoms. The relationship between marijuana and mental health is complex, and researchers are still working to understand it fully, but a clear association has been established. It's also linked to a higher risk of depression and anxiety disorders, turning what might have been a temporary coping mechanism into a long-term problem. If you are struggling with your mental health, it's so important to seek professional help from a therapist or doctor, rather than self-medicating, which can often make things worse. Beyond the brain and mental health, we have to consider the physical effects, particularly on your lungs. The most common way to use marijuana is by smoking it. When you smoke marijuana, you're inhaling more than just THC. You're inhaling smoke, tar, and carcinogens, just like with tobacco. Regular marijuana smokers can experience many of the same respiratory issues as tobacco smokers, such as chronic coughing, frequent lung infections like bronchitis, and increased phlegm production. Think about it this way. Your lungs are designed to breathe clean air. Anytime you inhale smoke, you're causing irritation and inflammation in your airways. Over years of heavy smoking, this can lead to significant damage to your lung tissue. While the link to lung cancer is still being studied and is more complex than with tobacco, the risk to your respiratory health is undeniable. Your lung capacity can decrease, making it harder to exercise or even just climb a flight of stairs without getting out of breath. For your overall physical health, inhaling smoke of any kind is a step in the wrong direction. So, let's put this all together. We have potential impacts on memory and focus that can affect your school and work. We have the risk of anxiety and paranoia that can harm your social life and emotional well-being. We have the long-term risk of decreased motivation and serious mental health issues. And we have the physical damage to your lungs from smoking. It's clear that for some people, the risks associated with marijuana use far outweigh any perceived benefits. If you have a family history of mental illness, if you struggle with anxiety, if you need to be sharp and focused for your job or your studies, or if you simply want to protect your physical health, avoiding marijuana is a wise choice. This isn't about fear-mongering. It's about being realistic and responsible. Every choice we make about our health has consequences, and it's up to each of us to weigh the pros and cons based on our own unique circumstances. If you or someone you know is struggling with marijuana use and it's negatively affecting their life, please know that help is available. Talk to a trusted friend, family member, doctor, or a mental health professional. There are resources out there to support you. Thank you so much for watching and for taking the time to learn about this important topic. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more balanced, science-based health content. Stay safe, stay informed, and take care of yourselves.